This video is going to walk you through how to use Boardmaker. So when you open Boardmaker for the first time, you might have to put in an activation code. So you might need to contact your district person who's managing that, because for some reason, even though the act activation code has been put in once, when a different user logs in, sometimes it asks for it again the first time they log in. So if that happens, just notify your administrator of Boardmaker, and you can get that taken care of real quick. But let's go ahead and get started with some basics. So when you open up Boardmaker, the program, this is what the new version 7 looks like. It has this sidebar over here that is very similar to the splash screen that used to show up with the three boxes. So it has the new, the open, and community here on the side. And then up in the top left corner, we have the place where you can adjust your user settings so that you can make sure things are even more expedient when you try to use them. So let's go ahead and look at the general settings, and you can look at the interface. So this is where in the old days we used to either eliminate the spread between the boxes when we wanted to be able to just cut between the boxes without trimming around them. So you can put that at a 0 on the grid spacing and the spray spacing. This is where you can turn the ruler off and on so that you can see how big the buttons are, because they're never exactly the size that they look like or appear to be on the screen. This is where you can look at the play mode and see when you're making an interactive activity, how you're going to interface with that activity. These are some qualities that you would see in a communication device, and that's really what it's set up for. But if you were going to use scanning to access your interactive activity, you could turn that on, etc. So just know that that is there. We're not going to go too much into the interactive activities at this point, but we'll be able to do that as we move forward. This is where you can use the text to speech, and you can adjust the voice that's giving the speech when you're doing an interactive activity. And you can also adjust the rate so that you can adjust the speed with which that voice speaks. And then lastly, we have the symbol and language. And so here you can choose what type of symbols that we're seeing. And these are all the defaults. So they're all the ones that are already activated. And that's probably fine for most people. We do have an option here for sexuality for your students going through transition. You might need to use some of these symbols, and they don't just show up automatically in the search. And you can see there's some sign language pictures and different things. So all these libraries are checked. You can uncheck, you can check them every single one and have the search consist of every single one of them, or you can uncheck them all and just choose some specific ones if you have some favorites. So there is some flexibility in how you're doing that. And that walks you through the basically what is typically a quote unquote file menu series in Boardmaker 7. This video is going to walk you through how to open a new document and get started in Boardmaker. So what we're going to do, we've already started up our Boardmaker 7 from the icon on our desktop, and we're going to go ahead and either go to New, Open, or Community. New is when you're going to start with a blank page. Open is when you already have something started that you want to continue to edit or work on, or something that's finished that you saved and you want to edit it just for ease of access, or to give you a head start efficiency. And the community takes you to the Boardmaker community, and it will show you a lot of the previously made activities by other um, users. And so it's basically a neat way to network with other users and be able to find things that are already made to easily get going with your activity. But we're going to go ahead and open a new board. And here you can see that that menu expands again. So you can use a blank board, a recently used board. You can choose from their printable library, which has a whole lot of different like game type things that are templates basically that you can insert pictures in to work on various concepts. And it's just a quick way to get things done. And you can see there's tons of printable templates here, everything from games to behavioral supports to activities, learning activities, and flashcards. So be sure and explore all that as you go forward because it will save you a lot of time. And then basically all you have to do is pop a picture into each one of the little boxes and print it out and you're ready to go. If you click on interactive, these are some templates also that you can develop interactive activities for, or you can develop your own and create up from a blank. So these are things that should you put them in should you develop them and put them up on a smart board or even in a communication device, if appropriate, you can interact with them and they will talk or they will do different actions that you tell them to do, maybe activate a video or a sound or something of that nature. So they're kind of fun to use. And again, they're a great tool for using on the smart board. And then favorites is going to be things that you've saved that you've indicated that you would like them to be favorites. So that's a quick way to get back up. So things like, for example, if you make those behavior cards for the lanyards for your students to give visual supports for your students with behavioral issues to remind them to sit quietly or to have walking feet. You can save those files right here in your favorites and quickly be able to bring them up. One of the things that I want to make sure and mention is that with Boardmaker 7, you can import your files that were from the earlier version of 6.0. And when you do that, you will be able to have them converted to version 7 and be able to use them in this program. So now we're going to open a new board and we're going to choose a blank board. And I personally like landscape, so I'm going to choose the landscape orientation. And then I'm going to click down here at create. And my board is going to come up and you can see based on my settings, I see the ruler and I really like to see the ruler so that I know how things are positioned on my paper. So I like that a lot. Now, here's we've got our select arrow, we have the button tool, we have a shape tool, we have the spray tool, the line drawer, the text or label making tool, and then we have some advanced things. For this lesson, I'm just going to show you how to create a button. And so we're going to look at creating one button. We're going to look at sizing the button. We're going to look at putting some content and then making multiples of the same button. And we're going to look at also just designing the button and making multiples of the same designed button, but leaving them blank so that you can put a variety of pictures in. So we got a couple of things we're going to do here. So first of all, the neat thing on Boardmaker 7 is that if you have your button tool activated and you just click in the the document, it will size a button for you and just pop it in there. You don't have to drag and drop, but you can see it's kind of a small button. It's about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches square. And I personally prefer my buttons bigger than that. So I have a choice. I can go into this corner and I can drag it to make it the size that I want. I can put it in the corner and hold my shift key down and it's going to let it create a square button. So a 2 inch by 2 inch button, or I can just leave it the way that it is. Another thing that you can do then is once you have that button is go to the shape and you can choose the shape of the button. And in the old days, they just had these shapes or you did a freehand drawing. But now you have the options of all these different shapes of your button. And so if you wanted a button that was shaped like a file folder, you could have your button be a file folder and use that image on your device or on your communication board. So it's really pretty cool. If you want to make a button of a certain shape, instead of having it active and then clicking the shape that you want it to be, now you have to go into the shapes, which is another button tool. And you click on that, and you're going to choose from all these different options of button shapes that you might want to create. So you can make a folder, you can make arrows, you can make a zap, whatever, call out. You can make rounded edges. You can make like a stop sign shape or a triangle shape button. So let's just choose one. We'll choose the zapper. And then I'm going to click over here in the page. And then I have my button. I'm not sure why that did that. So there's my zapper button. So you can make a variety. Anyway, let's get rid of that. And we're just going to focus on this one plain old button this time. And now we're going to try and put a picture in it. So we're going to go over here. We're going to add a symbol. So we're going to click on the symbol. And here are your search tools. So you type in the word that you're searching for right here. But if you choose one of these, it will help shape the search in your library. So if you choose this one, then the label that's already in the library will have to begin with whatever it is that you type in here. If you have anywhere selected, that's where you're going to get the broadest search, and you can just click anywhere, and anywhere in the label of the picture, it's going to generate that and show it in the symbol search field down here. If you click whole word, then it's going to have to be exactly that word from beginning to end, spelled exactly the same. And if you put ends with, then it's going to be searching at the end of the labels for the letters or words that you put. So the most generous search is this one with anywhere, and that's what I would recommend that you use unless there's a reason for narrowing it down. And then let's just say we want to do something about the state of Texas. We're going to do a history thing. So let's do Texas and then hit enter. And you'll see we get these three symbols for Texas. And I want to use the state. I think that my kids will recognize that the best. So I'm going to drag and drop that up into my box. And there is my state of Texas on my button. So I'm happy with that. It's good. And but I have a little trouble seeing the frame and the background. So let's go over to properties, and we can go ahead and look at these various properties to edit our button here. So let's go here, and here's the alignment on the page. So you can have it justified at the top. You can have it justified at the center. You can have it justified at the bottom of your page, at the side, left to center, all these different ways where it'll help you organize your buttons, or you can just drag them the way that you want. Um, if we want to have a font color, I'm okay with black, and that's what it already is, so we're cool with that. Now we have the background, and so we can change the background by choosing a color here. So let's choose our border color, and let's make it a little bit darker, heavier line. So I'm going to put a 4 point for that, and see how it changed the line around um, my button. And then I'm going to also change the background color. So I'm going to change my background color to yellow because that will make it a little bit higher contrast for my students with vision impairment. And so I have 5 students in my class that are going to be studying Texas, and I have this button, and I'm happy with my button. And so now I can spray it. So I'm going to click on the spray and put it across my page and make as many as I want to have that are the same. Now, that being said, you can do the exact same thing with just a plain button. So we're going to make another button. I'm going to hold my shift key down and drag to 2.5 inches, have my perfect square. And I really didn't need that many Texas, but I do like the dark border and the yellow background. So what I can do then is go over here into my properties for my button, and I can change my border to that 4 point again, or 6 point, just for grins. So you can see it, and I want my background to be yellow. And then I'm going to add a whole bunch of different pictures on here. So I might do Texas, but maybe I'll put some of the crops of Texas in the buttons if I'm going to facilitate a discussion about it. Or maybe I'll put um, some of the counties or some symbols that have to do with it, like the Alamo, or whatever. So here we have Texas. So we're going to put. Oh, wait, before I do that, I need to spray my buttons. So I'm going to spray and get a whole bunch of yellow backgrounds. And now I'm going to take my Texas and I'm going to put that there. And then maybe I'm going to talk about the flag of Texas. So I'll put that there. And let's see what other things we can come up with about Texas. So let's put in a bluebonnet and see if we get anything. No search results. So we can maybe go to the web and see if we get a search result for bluebonnet there. So we do get that, but I don't really want that. How about if I do a line drawing? Let's see if we get there we go. I like that better. So we can drag that up there and it pops right in there. And then I can do the Roadrunner and maybe pop that in there. Oh, he's a funny looking thing. Let's do a Roadrunner line drawing too. There we go. So we'll put this in here too. So we have a variety of things that we can fill in and have all about our topic. But then, who wants this bluebonnet line drawing? I don't. So we're going to address the label, and we're going to click on label, and then we're going to go down here to the label. Okay, so who wants to have the bluebonnet line drawing written down here? Not me. So I'm going to go down here and get my select tool, and I'm going to get my bluebonnet line drawing label, and I'm going to get rid of that. And now I'm going to insert text, and we're going to call it, oops. And now we'll drag it over here to where we want it to be. There we go. So there we have a few things that we can use. So now we have our board and we want to be able to print it. So a neat feature of Boardmaker 7 is that instead of it having a print command anywhere, so you can look here, there's no print command here. You can go over to create PDF. Now the advantage of this is that it allows you to convert this to a PDF, and then you can email it to anyone even if they don't have Boardmaker, and they'll be able to use the board that you've made. So we'll click on create PDF, And we want to be able to save the activity before we create the PDF. So we'll save it. We're going to call it Texas and then save it. It's in my computer now. And we're going to save the PDF in the same place. And you can see there's some things to tell if you want to save it, where you want to save it to. And be mindful that this is a computer based programs. So if you want to save these and not have them get lost, make sure that you save them to your cloud, your H drive, your Google Chrome, whatever it is that you like to save to that's not limited to your computer. Then we'll click create and it'll ask where we want to save it. And I save things in my Boardmaker file and save. There we go. And so now I have my PDF, and that's where you go then to print. So I'm going to go back to my Boardmaker page. I'm going to pull up my Texas PDF. And then I'm going to use my printer command here. Let's see, where is it? They always like to move things. Ah, there it is. Okay, so we're going to print. And we can go ahead and print that to whatever printer that you have available. This particular laptop is not on the computer system on the network of the district. So I can't actually print it, but you don't need me to show you that. You'll just look for your printer and then go ahead and print out your board. And there you go. You're good to go. So that is how you can create a button, numerous buttons the same. You can create a board, you can create activities, you can search in the web, and hopefully you'll enjoy the program and be able to find it to benefit your students in their communication and in the development of your visual supports.